Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of North of the Lake Sports Talk Live. This is season 2, episode 3. And your boy, man, Rashawn, is a happy man over here, man. Thank y'all for tuning in once again to another episode of North of the Lake Sports Talk Live. I'm your boy, man, Rashawn, and we about to get into things. But first, we have to give love to our sponsors. We have a sponsor for the first time. Shout out to the Insurance Depot. The Insurance Depot does personal insurance, business insurance, health insurance, life insurance, whatever insurance that you need, they can help you out with it. I got all my insurance through them. Reach out to Miss Reva Jackson. That's at 985-618-3222. That's 985-618-3222. Also, remember, they do taxes. Tax season is right around the corner, so make sure y'all tap in to the Insurance Depot. Shout out to Miss Reva Jackson, also her husband, Mr. Kevin Jackson. They do great work. Make sure y'all show them some love. It's the Insurance Depot. Once again, the number is 985-618-3222. All the scores are at the bottom. This is North of the Lake Sports Talk Live. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's NOTL Mon. We are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming on YouTube and now Instagram at NOT Podcast. Share and repost this live for us. If you would like to support the platform, our Cash App is at the bottom of the screen. But Louisiana High School Football Week 2, let's get into things. My Hammer High Tornadoes took care of business 33-16 against the Amy Warriors. Great game. That's our game of the week. Laranja over St. Thomas 56-7. Brother Martin over St. Paul's 31-28. Pine over Independence 41-13. Albany over Sarah T. Reed, 39-33. Slidell over Livingston Collegiate, 35-12. Mandeville, 52-43 over Madison Prep. Fountain Blue take care of business, 31-0. Dutchtown over Ponchatoula, 31-13. Jules Sumner gets the upset against Kentwood, 20-14. Sahalina over East Feliciana, 14-0. John Curtis beat North Shore, 27-7. Covington over Franklinton, 32-21. LSU in a tight game, man. I mean, a tight game. 36-33 over South Carolina. Jackson State beat Southern, 33-15. Grambling over Texas A&M Com, 35-28. Southeastern got the win. Big win for Southeastern, 28-24. East Washington. ULL gets the win. North Carolina takes down Louisiana Tech. And the Saints looking like a Super Bowl team right now. 44-19. Y'all let me know what y'all think about those New Orleans Saints. But right now, y'all already know what time it is. It's Louisiana High School Football Week 2. Y'all know I love my tangible whole guys. Y'all know this. So y'all know I got to show them some love. And who is better to show some love than bringing on Coach Fleet? I got my boy sitting here waiting. So we about to bring in Coach Fleet. Coach, welcome back.
How you doing, brother?
Man, we saw some good football this week from the high school level to the college level, and you saw what the Saints just did. We just got off the phone talking about that so bad. You know, we got to get into this tangy football. We both was at Hammond High versus Amy. It was a showdown, man. So give us your takes on that right now, Coach. Right now, y'all, so anybody just join us, we got Coach William Fleet with Miami Fitness Training. Coach, we was out there at that Amy game, man. Tell me what you saw.
Oh man, I saw a good game out there. Hammond High dominated. That's in the first half on defense. And Amy got some momentum in the second half, but Hammond, finished them off 33-16.
Most definitely, man. And we had some athletes in that game, man. So without further ado, we have to get to our players of the week in Tangy, man. Our first guy here, he's been wreaking havoc every chance that he get. And we talking about big baby Darius Cervic out of Hammond High School. I'm getting ready to show us highlights here, man. Let's give him some love here. Big guy, can move well, does well with his hands. He was one of the guys that really showed up in this Amy game. You see him here at D tackle for Hammond High, big 99 coming through, busting up everything. What you see here, Coach?
Man, they couldn't stop him, man. Like I said, the first half of the game, they was dominating mainly because of Big Baby down in the line of scrimmage, man. They couldn't stop him. He was getting the running back AGC behind the line of scrimmage right there. He was getting sacks on the quarterback. He was chasing him all night. When he went down the second half, that's when I think Amy got a lot of momentum because like the line of he could cause a ruckus, man. So when they put it when he got hurt, it kind of slowed him down on defense a little bit.
All facts, man. They wasn't able to get too much going because of Big Baby on the ground, man. He's been playing lights out football for our Hammer High Tornadoes.
Look at
Big
that.
Baby Darius Service is our player of the week. But we also got to mention, Coach. We also have to mention Zaylin Bennett. You know, y'all understand that this is a biased platform. Our players of the week gonna be all tornadoes, and we gotta represent for our Hammer High Tornadoes. But if any athletes from Tazewell Parish want to get their highlights displayed on the program, just DM me on Instagram. Most of y'all follow me on Instagram, or any athletes from the North Shore, not only Tangy Football, can send me the highlights on Instagram. That's NOTL Podcast on Instagram. But another guy for our Hammer High Tornadoes is Zaylin Bennett, number 2, running that thing for us, bro. What you saw from him over versus A&M this week.
Oh man, he had a good game. He had a good game last week against Denver Springs, a 5A school. But for this game, man, he really he broke a lot of his runs this time. He had a lot of breakaway runs.
You
Showed
see
a
him
little
on the
power
goal
too.
line right here. Nice run on
Yeah.
the goal line by Zaylin Bennett, number 2. He is a junior for Hammond High School this year. I do believe he's a junior, but please correct me if I'm wrong, Zay. Gotcha. You see him against A&M here in the
He
pistol.
finna break this one right here.
And here we go. You see the vision. Nice hard running from Zaylin Bennett. That's number 2. He
Showed a lot of heart too for his size.
He is a junior this year for Hammond High School. And here you go. He breaks it. He breaks it open against the A&M defense. Round the right corner. It was a problem all night. I think you told me he had like 150 yards rushing in this game, right?
Yeah.
150 yards. Shout out to Zaylin Bennett. Now here's the long one. He finds a hole and he's gone. We look forward to seeing more of that during the season, man. Shout out to Zaylin Bennett, man. That was a great display. And he also had a game against Denham Springs as well last week. Had a great game. Maybe over 100 yards rushing too, right?
Yeah.
Shout out to our Hammer High Tornadoes. They did take care of business 33-16 against the A&M Warriors, man. So let's get into a little bit more, man. We both set the Hammer High game versus A&M. A&M for a 3A school looked very well. So shout out to the A&M Warriors. It's not the end of the season for the A&M Warriors. They look good versus a powerful 5A school in Hammer High. Hammer High, I believe, has one of the best defenses in the state this year. Shout out to Coach Buckles and what he has done for the program, how he's turned those guys around. But one thing we have had at Hammer High School is a great defense the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Buckles. But what teams impressed, man? Give me some teams that impressed this week.
Sumner beat Kent with it Friday 20-14. I think Sumner got a pretty good team. They're gonna make some noise in 3A. Also, watch out for that game end of the year with them and they meet. They might decide who win district.
That's gonna be a good one, man. But shout out to Sumner. Last season when I was doing my lives, I kept seeing Sumner scores. Like I haven't been able to get a chance to watch them on film, but from what I see from them, from their scores, man, they take care of business. So shout out to the Sumner Cowboys, man. Shout out to them, man, because like I said, they've been coming to play over the last few years, man. So shout out to them. But we also got to go back to Hammond High School, man. As far as teams that impress, just talk about what Coach Buckles is doing with these group of athletes.
Buckles, man, since he got there, he been building a culture, man. What we've been known for since he got there, they having a good defense and also having a good run game. So that's been the identity since he got there. That's the culture he built. He built a hard-nosed, tough culture. I like what I'm saying. They tackle well in space out there, and they got a lot of grit to them. I guess they come from the coach who played linebacker, played under Nick Saban, so I guess they got that from him.
You can see those similarities. You can tell a guy who was coached by Nick Saban. The players are never out of position. It's like they know their assignment and they know how to read. We had an episode. The first episode we did this season was with Bryce Carter, and you see how well Bryce Carter was playing that Mike position. I mean, he was taking angles at people and he was hitting people kids, man. He was abusing people kids out there on that field. I told him, Bryce, you better stop that, man. They take people for jail for stuff like that these days, bro. You can't, you can't be hitting people, kids like that, man. But shout out to Bryce Carter, man. Shout out to our guy, man. And, game of the week, man. Game of the week goes back to Hammond High versus Aim Meat is a big rivalry in the state of in the parish for Tangible Hope Parish. We all know what this means to Hammond High and Aim Meat. It's kind of bragging rights for the parish, man. So once again, it was a great game, man. Zaylen Carter had a fantastic day. I thought TJ Jones also managed the game well enough for us to win. And also, man, we got to talk about those receivers from Aim Meat, man. I mean, our guy Braylon scored a nice little long touchdown.
Yeah, Braylon got him one, man. I'm proud of him.
And what's the other brother, man? I can't remember.
It's about Franklin Morgan. He had scored too.
Franklin Morgan scored as well.
Yeah, he scored too. We were talking about him last week.
Shout out to Franklin Morgan, man. He was one of our guys to watch this season, and he's showing us why. That was a well-fought game, man. I enjoyed it. Every time Hammond High and Amy play each other, I always enjoy it because you're gonna see some talented athletes on the field, and you know that just as well as anybody, Coach, because you're around these guys. During the summer when nobody's looking, a lot of these dudes is over there training with you. You know what I'm saying, and getting and putting that work in. So you're starting to see that translate towards the field, man. Talk about what it's been like to watch these guys, the Franklin Morgan Juniors, the Kenyatta Fleets, the Bryce Carters that has been training with us for a while, man. Talk about what it feels.
I haven't really trained Franklin Morgan. He's trained with his dad. I watched a lot of videos of him. I watch his work. Like his work definitely transitioned to the field. Like I'm gonna say Braylon, before he got hurt, was working out with me a lot. You could see his route running. He was getting crispy with it. Like he was dropping his hips faster than anybody out there. He's making some of the older guys look crazy. Kent, Kent, he's competitive, man. So as long as he competing with somebody, he's getting better. So as long as he got somebody out there to compete with, he's good. Who else I'm gonna brag up like that? Oh, Bryce, man. I've been praying Bryce since he was 13, man. He had maxed out at 225 at 13 years old. And like his strength show out there on the field. And like hopefully he's gonna stay healthy this season. So I definitely show every game. Him on the field is definitely an impact.
Most definitely, man. But like I said, once again, shout out to all the athletes that participated in this game. It was a better game than what the score indicated. Hammer High did get out to a 16-0 lead early on in that first quarter, but credit to Amy. Amy did not stop fighting. They are fighters, and they're gonna be okay in 3A. Trust me, Amy is gonna be okay in 3A.
I'm also bring up my they coach they haven't coached them that too through some family things going on. So just pray for the coach.
What is coach's name? I forget his name right now.
Man, I forgot his name. Coach Powell, man.
Coach Powell. Shout out to Coach Powell, man. We wish that we was gonna just send you our thoughts and our prayers. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but we're gonna send our thoughts and prayers to Coach Powell. That's head coach at Amy High School. Man, anything else you want to add before I get you out of here, Coach?
Man, LaRonja undefeated, so they tore it out too. So watch out for them. Keep an eye on them.
I forgot about LaRonja. LaRonja beat St. Thomas 56-7. Shout out to them guys at LaRonja, man. And if any of y'all watch the show, send me some highlights. I want to see what y'all out there. I want to see what y'all doing out there in LaRonja, man. I'm gonna have to go down. Y'all right down the road from. I'm gonna have to go and see what y'all got going on out there, LaRonja, man. And I got a lot of kid folk out there in LaRonja, so I need some words. So if any of my people watching this, somebody please give me an update on LaRonja or some highlights or something like that. But LaRonja did beat St. Thomas 56-7, man. So shout out to LaRonja, man. That's awesome for that program. So we're gonna see what LaRonja does going forward. But like I said, the games of the week was Hammond High versus Aim Mead. Also, Sumner took care of business against Kentwood 20-14. I think that was a surprise throughout the parish. A lot of those Kentwood people, man, they like to talk, man. So I know they feel it up there at that water tower right now, man. So
that's talking Nolan, boy. You should have seen the stuff there.
Oh yeah, something in Kentwood might be worse than Ponchatoula and Hammond.
Man, I saw the coach with a Kentwood helmet, man, taking a picture with it.
What happened?
Some of the coach had a Kentwood helmet. So like, yeah, something about you in the water tower. I was like, oh man, they got sick. I like, what they talking about?
Turn up the heat under that water tower, man. I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see where people care I love to see when people care about it and what's going
I don't
on,
know
man.
how he got that helmet.
Me either. I mean, that's a feat right there alone, by itself. So shout out to him, man. Anybody who got anything to say or anything to add, please respond in the comments. I'm trying to. I have been working on the comments, so your comments probably can come on the screen now. So let me know what y'all think in the comments. We are streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm not streaming on X anymore. I was having some problems with it, so we only streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Anything else, Coach?
That's about it, man.
Hey man, look, we appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing for our kids here in Tazewell Parish. Like I said, it was a great week in Tazewell Parish, man. Any final words?
Stay tuned, man. Got some news coming soon, so stay tuned.
Got you, man. Coach Fleet, we appreciate you for joining the program, man. We'll see you next week.
All right, brother. Do your thing.
Yes, sir. Shout out to everybody that's in Tangible Parish, all our athletes from the top to the bottom, from Kentwood to Ponchatoula, man. We support you on this platform, even though this is a biased platform. Y'all know how I am. I went to Hammer High School class of 2011, homecoming October 11th. So y'all watch out for that, man. But let's move right along to those LSU Tigers. I got to get, I made this post on Facebook. Between Les Miles and Brian Kelly, I know they both have taken a couple years off my life. Just unnecessary close games, just playing down the competition, just what LSU has been doing for the last 10 to 15 years. They did it yesterday against South Carolina. Early morning game, 11 o'clock kickoff, but I'm not going to too much use that as an excuse. South Carolina got out to a 17-0 lead against the LSU Tigers, and early on, it looked dominant. I mean, early on, their quarterback, South Carolina's quarterback, was very impressive early on in that game. Shout out to Lenoris Sellers. He was 9 of 16, 113 yards. He didn't have a touchdown. He had an interception, but those stats don't quite depict how he took control of that game. And one of the keys to this game, to anybody that watched, they like most people on Facebook I seen was saying that, had Lenorius Sellers finished this game, he did go down in this game. I'm not so sure LSU would have had a fighting chance if Sellers didn't go down in this game. Like I said, they got out to a 17-0 lead early on in that game. I mean, it looked dominant, and I'm like, out the gate, I'm like, LSU's in trouble here. Because, in the beginning, that great LSU offensive line was struggling to block their tackles. They do have probably some first-round grade tackles at South Carolina, but they couldn't protect Nussmeier early on. And that was a problem from LSU. And like I said, South Carolina had a scrambling quarterback in Lenorius Sellers. He was making plays with his legs. Nothing special, but it was a diverse playbook that South Carolina was using. They was using a lot of motion and things of that nature. But Garrett Nussmeier did impress in this game. He was 24-40, 285 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception. QBR 76. So Nussmeier is playing pretty good. I think the surprise of this game was Caden Durham, freshman out of Duncanville High School out there in Texas. He had 11 carries for 98 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. And that had been a problem for LSU this season, just the running game in general. So for a freshman to come in and get that type of jump for the offense, because, I mean, before Durham started running the ball, LSU was kind of lost at that running back position, man. So that was a major plus. But like I said, LSU had no business of winning this game. We all can argue if Sellers went down, what would have happened, but it just wasn't a good start. And it wasn't a good look for Brian Kelly. And the reason why I say it wasn't a good look for Brian Kelly, because it seems like LSU just is not prepared to win. It's like they're not prepared to play all the time, and not taking anything from South Carolina, but this is a game that LSU is supposed to win. This is a game that LSU has historically won. And I think I even seen the stat that South Carolina hadn't beat LSU since the Clinton administration. That was right around most of us in our 30s. That's when we was first born. We don't even remember the Clinton administration like that. but that's the last time South Carolina did beat LSU. So with that being said, this is a game that you go out there and make a statement with. And I'm not so sure this was a statement game for LSU. Nonetheless, LSU did get the win, but it was sloppy. And let's be honest, had South Carolina's quarterback stayed healthy, had they not made, I mean, they didn't shoot themselves in the foot. South Carolina didn't shoot themselves in the foot. They tried to blow their whole damn leg off. And that's what pretty much got LSU in position to win this game, just costly turnovers and mistakes by South Carolina. And I think it was like in that third quarter when Garrett Nussmeier threw an interception, a pick six interception that was called back. And that pretty much changed it. And on a questionable call at that. The refs was fairly inconsistent in this game, and they have been inconsistent. The penalties definitely hurt South Carolina. And if you go back, I think in my first live I mentioned this. I could have been talking to Coach Fleet. Not sure, but when I seen LSU's schedule for the 2024 season, and I seen South Carolina in between that USC game, obviously LSU played Nichols last week, didn't look very good. But when I seen the schedule and I seen South Carolina sitting in between USC and UCLA, I said, this is going to be a trap game because South Carolina hasn't been a horrible team. I mean, really in the last 10 years, they keep a couple athletes. For whatever reason that they produce some athletes out there on the coast, out there in North Carolina, South Carolina, and they probably get a lot of recruits out of Georgia as well. But I knew this was going to be a hard-fought game. Shout out to Coach Beamer. He is the son of Coach Frank Beamer from Virginia Tech. I'm going to be honest with you. It looked like, once again, I can say probably 3 weeks in a row, going back to the USC game, going back to the Nichols game, and going back to the South Carolina game yesterday. 3 straight games, Brian Kelly got out coached. 3 straight games. There's no doubt about it. This is a $10 million coach. And I think for the 3rd straight week, he was out coached. And that's a problem for LSU, especially the money that Brian Kelly is making. We will get into it in a little more depth a little later. But that's a problem for LSU. Defense continues to struggle against the run. I mean, it's not LSU football. What I'm saying from LSU and this coaching staff and the lack of creativity on offense. It's early on you saw South Carolina using a lot of emotion, using a lot of counter and misdirection, and it had LSU's defense off balance for the early portion of that game. Eventually settled down, made some plays, and got some breaks, but it doesn't look good from a preparation standpoint for LSU and Brian Kelly. But we'll get into that a little later. But I have to talk about Caden Durham, freshman out of Duncanville High School in Texas. I think if we had to give a game ball to anybody, it would be Caden Durham. Caden Durham, man, as a freshman, debut, it really is coming out for it. He hadn't had a lot of carries before this, but he went 11 for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns as a freshman in a major SEC game. So that's a positive going forward. I think going forward, Caden Durham has to be running back 1 right now. And then by committee. And then by, whether it's Josh Williams, whether it's Jackson coming or Caleb Jackson coming out of the backfield, I think they have a nice 1, 2, or 3 punch now that the freshman Caden Durham has stepped up and played some major SEC football. So shout out to Caden Durham, and shout out to, I will give credit where credit is due. Shout out to the LSU coaching staff for putting trust in the freshmen, because that's kind of how things have went historically for LSU. A lot of freshmen has been able to make their step. I mean, look what Tyrann Mathieu did. Tyrann Mathieu played a lot as a freshman. So did Patrick Peterson and Leonard Fournette. You can go on, even Trey White and Greedy Williams. I mean, we can go on and on about Justin Vincent is a name that a lot of Tiger fans probably haven't heard in a while. But even Justin Vincent came onto the scene early as a freshman. So I think some of the better college football teams in the country right now, which I'm going to get into my top 5 a little later, my top 5 college football teams, but a lot of the top 5 teams in the country have freshmen that come on and produce. They may not be the star of the team. They may not be the go-to guy, but they make an impact I mean, look what Devontae Smith did. We all know Devontae Smith here in Tangipahoa Parish, right down the road in from Amite, Louisiana. Look what he did as a freshman at Alabama. So some of the better teams in the country have freshmen that can produce. But shout out to the coaching staff for that. But when I give love, I got to give some critique. So, the question got to be asked. Brian Kelly is in year 3. He's in year 3 as LSU's head coach. He is 22. I'm going to get my notes here. He is 22-8 at LSU in 3 seasons. He has won 1 Western Conference championship. He made an SEC appearance in the SEC championship. But I think it's a fair question to be asked now, about his job, and is his job on the line? And it hasn't been all bad for LSU. It hasn't been all bad for Brian Kelly. But when you take a deeper dive into things, first 2 years, season opener, you lose to Florida State. In a close game in his first year, I think the score was like 23-24, something like that. Second year against Florida State dominates. Jaden Daniels goes down in that game. I believe he went. No, I'm actually thinking about the Alabama game from last year. But first 2 years, you're pretty much embarrassed, versus a team that you're supposed to beat. Let's be honest. By a team that you're supposed to beat in Florida State. I mean, this is LSU. You're supposed to beat Florida State. If you're going to be that team, if you're going to win a national championship, you got to beat Florida State. So his first 3 years, if you take out that Alabama win the year before last, that in that overtime game, I believe it was 2022, in that overtime game, Brian Kelly's first season, he beats Alabama, and that gets us into the SEC championship game. But I want everybody to think about this. If you take away that specific win against Alabama in Tiger Stadium, what has Brian Kelly really done? Think about it. I mean, you had a Heisman quarterback in Jaden Daniels 2 years, your first 2 years at LSU. You had 2 first-round receivers in Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. You had one of the best offensive lines that probably has ever been at LSU. Defense has been a problem, but that's also on Brian Kelly. You brought in Matt House. Matt House didn't work out. You hired him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you hired the man. So, and this year, you bring in Blake Baker. Things have looked a little better, but there's still inconsistencies. I thought LSU's defense looked a lot better against USC, but then they all of a sudden they don't seem as aggressive and they're not blitzing as much as they was in that USC game. But then you start looking at a little farther, and one of the problems I've had with Brian Kelly since he has been at LSU, just lack of creativity, lack of ways of getting your playmakers involved, because I think we was all blinded by the last 2 years. Jaden Daniels was just that good. I watched Jaden Daniels today lead a game-winning drive against the New York Giants and led them to a field goal as a rookie. He had over 230 yards passing. I'm pretty sure he had a nice amount of rushing yards. I didn't get the stat exact. But we had Jaden Daniels. LSU had Jaden Daniels for the last 2 years. So I think that might have kind of elevated Brian Kelly more than what he should get credit for, at least. And I think that's going to be a problem, because now we have a guy in Garrett Nussmeier, not bad, very good passer, but he's not Jaden Daniels. He can't create. He's not going to pull the ball and run like Jaden Daniels. He's not going to get those extra yards and move the chains and get that first down. Seems like when Jaden Daniels the quarterback, it's like 3rd and 5, he was going to run it and he was going to make it. No doubt about it. That's how he won the Heisman. It seemed like when he had the ball in his hands, he was going to make something happen. Garrett Nussmeier is not quite that. So from what I've been seeing from Brian Kelly the last 3 years is inconsistency in the team, in execution, and having his players ready to play. You lost 3 straight openers your first 3 years. Florida State twice, USC this year. 2 teams LSU is not supposed to lose to. LSU has 3 national championships. Wait, is it? Wait, 1, 2. Yeah, 3 national championships. One in way back in the day. One in 03, 07 and 9. So we got 4. Got LSU has 4 national championships before Brian Kelly came here. This is a championship school. Brian Kelly's never won a championship. Brian Kelly talks about the process, but Brian Kelly's never won a championship. So that's just something. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Give me your feedback on that. But Brian Kelly, I think, is officially on the hot seat. Had he lost this game, it would have been some major chatter in Bayou Country. Y'all know that. Y'all know that. We are some impatient people. So Brian Kelly definitely got off the hook with a win, a very tight win that LSU probably was not supposed to win that game, but they found a way to win. So credit to the staff, but for actually sticking through with their game plan and finding a way to win. But that was a tough one. And had Brian Kelly lost that game, I think we would be having a much different conversation here, man. So I got to give you my biggest takeaway from what I seen the last 3 weeks and what I seen yesterday against South Carolina. And this is my takeaway. LSU has to find some rhythm on offense. It just looks like there's no flow to the play calling. It's kind of just very simple. I haven't seen Garrett Nussmeier take a shot down the field all season. You got Eddie Lacy. You got some more capable guys. You got Xavier Thomas that came out of the transfer portal from Mississippi State. You got some guys that can stretch the field. I'm sure of it. I mean, LSU, like you know what Nick Saban say, you can shake a tree down here in Louisiana and pull an athlete off one of them. So I haven't seen LSU stretch the field at all. I haven't seen any creativity. It's just a lot of simple, throw it to the tight end in the flat, throw a little out route. It just no creativity. I thought it was more creative under Mike Denbrock last year. I think LSU was missing offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock from last year, the offensive coordinator that helped Jaden Daniels win the Heisman. I think LSU is really missing him right now. I truly believe that because there's and I was kind of critical of him at times, but at least he showed some creativity. I don't see anything from the new offensive coordinator at LSU, and it starts at the head. I think Brian Kelly is definitely on the hot seat, official on the hot seat, even after that win. But that was no way LSU was supposed to win that game, but they did find a way to win. So my biggest takeaway is still the running game. Outside of Caden Durham's 98 yards, man. I mean, we really don't have too much production outside of that. I mean, if you take him out of the element, LSU rushes for 50 yards last night. If it wasn't for Caden Durham, they rushed for a little bit near 50 yards. So if you take Caden Durham out the equation, a lot of those runs he was creating, he was breaking tackles, he was making it happen. So something positive, and and another guy that came onto the scene, Aaron Anderson, man. Everybody been looking for Aaron Anderson. He was on a documentary on Prime. I can't remember the name of that documentary, but he's from Edna Carr, a guy out of Edna Carr that was at Alabama, transferred to LSU, but he is a Louisiana guy. He had 5 receptions, 96 yards, and he's been looking good. He is a guy that I want to see LSU get more involved in the play call and get some more creative, whether it's a jet sweep, whether it's just lining them up at running back and letting them run. I want to see some creativity with Aaron Anderson. I think he's coming along. Kyron Lacy looked good. Mason Taylor still is probably one of the best tight ends in the country, but it just needs to be more creativity. Because I think LSU's defense is what it is. I don't think it's going to get any better. I don't think it's going to get any worse. But with that being said, had Jaden Daniels had this defense this year, I think LSU wins the national championship. So the defense is good enough for, to win if you can score points. But if it came down to a, 17-20 game, I don't like LSU chances in that. And LSU still has a lot more football to play. I mean, let's take a look at the schedule. Let's see what LSU has going forward. Getting ready to talk about UCLA here in a minute. Next week's game, and then you got a break against South Alabama, and then you got number 5 Ole Miss coming in on October 12th, and that's going to be a challenge. But the schedule is very manageable if LSU can get past Ole Miss. We got Alabama in November 9th. That Ole Miss and Alabama is going to be the two tests for LSU, but you can't sleep on A&M. Arkansas is playing good football. Florida will always play LSU close, no matter how bad they look. You got Vanderbilt, which you should win that game, and you got Oklahoma. Oklahoma looks pretty good, and Oklahoma has defense. Usually Oklahoma is notorious for not having defense, but they got it this year. So LSU got they work cut out for them. But I mean, something got to give. Brian Kelly, it has to be more creativity in the offense. Defense holding on for dear life, but it has to be more creativity in the offense. But next week, LSU has UCLA, which is a game that they should be able to pull off. But we all know how things has been going under Brian Kelly, and you just never know with LSU sometimes. But UCLA is 1-1 on the season. They struggled against Hawaii, so they barely beat Hawaii 16-13. So this is a game LSU should win. Last week, this Saturday, they lose to Indiana. UCLA loses to Indiana 42-13. So that's a game. This is a game LSU has to win. I mean, no doubt about it. If LSU struggles or if they even lose this game, people in Baton Rouge and Louisiana is going to be calling for this man's job. So Brian Kelly this is a game. This is a statement win next week for LSU versus UCLA. This is a statement win. You got to win at least by 10. UCLA has looked horrible this year, man. I mean, horrible. Horrible. Let's look at the stat. I mean, the quarterback can't throw a rock in the ocean for UCLA. I mean, he was 14-23, 137 yards, an interception. Not impressive. On the season, he hasn't been impressive. He has 1 touchdown for 3 interceptions, a QBR of 39 and 409 yards on the season. I mean, so this should be a game that LSU dominates. And for Brian Kelly, this is a must win. This is a must dominate game to at least show that there's growth and that the team is getting better, because UCLA has no reason to hang around in this game against LSU. Like I said, they lost to Indiana. And I'm not throwing salt on Indiana, but let's be real. It's Indiana. They in the Big Ten. I mean, come on. And to get blew out by Indiana, that just speaks volumes. So this is a game that LSU has to win, supposed to win, must win. So we're going to see going forward with Brian Kelly, man, because it's starting to look kind of iffy, man. It's kind of starting to look like Les Miles type of football, and we all know what we went through with Les Miles. I mean, underachieved, never impressive, dull on offense, and it's starting to have some of those same type of vibe to this team and what we've seen the last 3 years. I mean, it's been okay, but it hasn't blown anybody away. Outside of Jaden Daniels, LSU hasn't blown anybody away the last 3 years, whether it's on defense. It's always going to have athletes here because we is in the great state of Louisiana, but it has not looked great under Brian Kelly. It's looked average, outside of that Alabama win, which I mentioned earlier. What has Brian Kelly really done to LSU? Outside of that Alabama win, So something to think about, but I got my top 5. North of the Lake has a top 5 college football ranking. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think. Let me know what you think in the chat. I'm getting ready to show you. And I base this off of what I've seen. I base this off of what I've seen for the season. I starting at number 5. I got Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss because of just the depth that Ole Miss has, and we all know what Lane Kiffin is as a play caller. I always trust the play caller. And, I was talking to Coach Fleet earlier today. I said, man, in order for most programs to be successful now, they have to have a successful play calling either on the defensive side, but preferably on the offensive side if you're going to sustain. I mean, look at Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Look at Lincoln Riley at USC. Look at some of these great play callers that, as long as you got a great play caller, you can always find a guy to coach the defense. Score points, stop somebody when you got to stop somebody. So that's why I had to give it to Ole Miss. They got probably the best play caller in college football. And I got Georgia coming in at number 4. And the reason why I have Georgia at number 4 is because I've watched Georgia, and Georgia kind of reminds me a lot of LSU, just really, really dull. But I think Georgia has better coaching there under Kirby Smart. But it has been dull, and they barely got away with a win against Kentucky. And Kentucky just, gave up 30 points to South Carolina last week. And LSU beat South Carolina barely, but it is what it is. So Georgia hasn't impressed me enough to give them that number one spot. I see they are number one in a lot of different polls. And at number 3, I got Ohio State. I got Ohio State because Ohio State is out there balling. They keep some athletes. Always has a number one recruiting class. And just from what I've seen from them, I talked earlier about freshmen contributing, and they have a freshman receiver who they are saying is probably going to be one of the best to ever do it. I forget that brother's name right now, but I know his dad played in the NFL, and he is making, as a freshman, he's contributing. When you have freshmen that can contribute, that only makes the team that much better. The team is only that much better when you got freshmen contributing. We know what the brand Ohio State is. I've watched them; they look good. I don't see many holes in their team. So I got Ohio State at number 3, and this might surprise a lot of people who I got at number 2. Y'all know I'm a Alabama hater, lifelong LSU fan. Y'all know how I feel about Nick Saban leaving the LSU, but I had to put Alabama at number 2 because what I've seen from Alabama this year, it hasn't been all good, but once again, they have freshmen contributing. They have a guy at receiver, freshman right now, who is blowing the top off the roof right now. I mean, he's getting deep on people. You got Jalen Milroe at quarterback. He can scramble. He can get around. He can create. And the defense is playing well enough to win. And they just look scary to me. Alabama looks scary to me right now. I thought they may take a dip when Nick Saban retires, but now they got the new coach in position right now. And it looks good. It still looks like Alabama. Defense still good. They still got playmakers. So Alabama's number 2 for me, just because of, I think, Kalen DuBois. We know what he did at Washington, and it looks like he's bringing that to Alabama. And those Alabama teams always they'll struggle a little bit in the beginning, but at November and December, look out. I mean, that is under Nick Saban, but I think DuBois has those same type of qualities. So look out for Alabama. I got Alabama coming in at number 2. And the number 1 spot, I got the Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns. And this is why. I watched that game yesterday. I forget who they was playing. They was playing somebody. Some we about to just show up and blow them out type of team. I can't remember the team that they played, but I sat there and watched that game, and Quentin Ewers went down with an injury. And here comes Arch Manning right out of Newman High School in New Orleans. He comes in, and it's like there was no drop-off. I seen a Manning scramble for 70 yards in a touchdown. A Manning. I know Grandpa could move, but your 2 uncles couldn't move at all. But this man took it to the house, 70 yards on a nice run by Arch Manning. And I told myself, I said, they got 2 quarterbacks that can win a championship. I think Arch Manning even threw for 4 touchdowns as well. And they just look impressive. Play calling is there, defensive there. They are good in the trenches. I think Texas is the number 1 team in the country right now. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the chat. Let me know what you think in the chat. I got Texas Longhorns at number 1 because of what I see. They got 2 quarterbacks that's probably going to be first-round picks. They got receivers. They got everything over there, and it's looking good. It's looking good. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Steve Sarkisian, one of the best play callers in all of football. They have the guys, they have the recruiting, they have the money, they have the boosters. I think this is Texas' year. And I made a comment that I know Texas is not gonna run the SEC, just like I'm with Nick Saban on that. But I do believe Texas is the team to beat this year. I've seen too many inconsistencies with Georgia. Ole Miss hasn't really played anybody yet. So I got them at number 5. And a team that I don't have on this list is Tennessee. And I thought about putting Tennessee at the number 5 spot, but they got to prove themselves a little bit more against good competition. But they quarterback, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. We're just going to say Tennessee's quarterback. He's been playing lights out. I mean, he looks like a Heisman candidate right along with Ward down there in Miami. So it's going to be interesting to see, man. Tennessee looks good. I left them out on this list, but if you just joined me, this is North of the Lakes College Football Top 5. We got Ole Miss at 5, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, and then we got Texas at that number 1 spot. Let me know what y'all think in the chat, man. If I'm tripping, y'all let me know. If I am tripping, let me know. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Even if you watch this later, leave me a comment. I'll get with you. I'll get with you, man. So that is our top 5. Thank y'all for joining, man. This is North of the Lake episode 3. We on season 2. We are streaming on Facebook. We are streaming on YouTube. We are streaming on Instagram. If you are watching this live, please share this live for us so we can get more eyes on our platform, so we can do more things, so we can put more people, more athletes on our platform. Shout out to our Tangy guys, but we have to stop once again and remind you that this live is sponsored by the Insurance Depot. Personal insurance, business insurance, health insurance, life insurance. They also do taxes. Ask for Miss Reva Jackson. That number is 985-618-322. Once again, 985-618-322. They can help you with any type of insurance. I got all my insurance through them, whether it's home insurance, whether it's car insurance, life, health, even my taxes. They are good people. Please go holler at Miss Reva Jackson and the Insurance Depot. They also have a website. Let me take down the score right now. The website is at the bottom. That's www.digsagencyllc.com. It's at the bottom of the screen. Shout out to our sponsor, Insurance Depot, man. But it's been fun so far, man. We got to keep going. We got to keep going. We got to get into some more things. Like I said, best team in the country. Right now, I'm going to give it to Texas. Like I said before, I just think Texas got too much. I think Texas is going to be too much to handle for the rest of college football. They kind of look like the Saints right now. They look different. Like I said, I seen the Saints today. The Saints look different from anybody else in the NFL. So does Texas. They kind of stand out. And, when Arch Manning came in the game and threw 4 touchdowns, even though it was lesser competition, it is what it is. I mean, if your backup quarterback comes in there and run for 70 and then throw 4 more touchdowns, you got to be the best team in the country. If your backup quarterback can do that, and then your starting quarterback, Quentin Ewers, is, most Mel Kiper and them got him going in the first round. So I got to give it to the Texas Longhorns. As much as I hate to say it, they, new additions to the SEC. You know how arrogant us Southern fans are in the SEC. So you know how that is. We arrogant, but Texas coming in here and looking good. And they probably gonna win the SEC this year. Georgia looks they look questionable. They don't have those playmakers that I think Georgia is used to having. So I gotta give it to Texas. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. This is North of the Lake Sports Talk Live. Your boy Myron Sean. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in. But we cannot go anywhere before we talk about those New Orleans Saints. I've been trying my best not to get carried away. Last week, Saints go take care of business 47-10 against the Panthers. And I'm like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, Derek Carr looks good. The running game, Alvin Kamara is back. We're going to the Super Bowl. I even said I was going to take out a second mortgage on the house and go ahead and buy my Super Bowl tickets. That might not be the best financial decision. Please, if you're watching this live, that's not good financial advice. But I'm feeling that good about the New Orleans Saints right now. Who that, baby? Who that? I almost started playing black and gold to the Super Bowl on here. I had to catch myself. I think YouTube was going to flag the song anyway, but I almost played the song today. Because them Saints, let me tell you about the Saints, man. 44-19 over the Cowboys. Derek Carr was on fire. 11 for 16, 243 through the air, 2 touchdowns. He did have an interception, but it ain't matter because it was all Saints all day long. Alvin Kamara. I think this might have been the best game Alvin Kamara has had in his career. Even better than that game. He had like 7-something touchdowns against Minnesota. This was efficient, Alvin Kamara. 20 carries, 115 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. Very impressive that sounds like the most. I could be wrong. I haven't checked this out, but that sounds like the most yards Alvin Kamara I ever remember him having on the ground. Usually it's like, 80 yards on the ground, 50 yards receiving, maybe a touchdown on, either one. But this probably was the best game Alvin Kamara has had. And then, you know, Jamal Williams looked good on the ground. He had 8 carries, 39 yards, but they was tough yards. They was first down yards. You know, we all know about Taysom Hill. He did this thing. Raheem Shaheed, which we're going to talk about later. Four catches, 96 yards, a touchdown, and they be long. I mean, it was another 70-yarder. You know, another 70-yarder. We're gonna give him some love later. And Chris Olave still looks good, man. Chris Olave still looks good. Looks like an elite receiver in the league. And that Saints defense, man, they held the Cowboys about 330 yards total offense, which is pretty good. Dak Prescott is, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you want to argue with me about it, Dak Prescott is a top 5, top 10 quarterback. Whatever list you want to put out there, I'm cool with it because I kind of go back and forth with Dak Prescott myself. But Dak had a decent day. I don't think it was Dak's fault that the Cowboys lost this game. The Saints just came and dominated, man. 27 of 39 of 293 was Dak Prescott. He had a touchdown, but he did have 2 costly interceptions. But the game was pretty much over. I mean, from the start, this game was over. The Saints came out the first drive, boom, right down the field to Raheem Shaheed. That's a hard name to say, man. Y'all say that 3 times and get back with me. But look, I mean, that wasn't bad. But the Saints were just overwhelming. And we have to have a conversation about the Saints. We have to have a conversation about the Saints. We got a comment. Shout out to Boss Man on Facebook. Car Fire. You got to have faith. I got all the faith in Derek Carr this year, Marco, bro. I'm telling you, like, Derek Carr, I think all of Who Dat Nation, including myself, owes Derek Carr an apology. Come on, y'all. We can't be too big. We can't be too full of ourselves. I think we owe Derek Carr an apology. I just think that offense last year was just so bad, so vanilla, so unexciting that the man just couldn't really do nothing. I think we gotta apologize to Derek Carr, Boss Man, because we've been going back and forth in them DMs about Derek Carr the last 2 years. I think it's time that we apologize to Derek Carr. I'm just being honest. Boss Man also had to say, Chris still him. Yes, he is, bro. Chris Olave still probably one of the better route runners in the league. This Saints offense, it looks scary. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I was one of those people last week against Carolina. I'm like, okay, it's Carolina. But Carolina didn't have a terrible defense. You know, Carolina has been pretty consistent in defense, you know, since the Breeze era. They wasn't terrible on defense, but then the Saints go out there and do this exact same thing to the Dallas Cowboys, who is probably a top 10 defense. To put up 40 points on a top 10 defense. I'm starting to think black and gold to the Super Bowl. I'm starting to think black and gold to the Super Bowl, and I'm trying not to get carried away. If they go out here and beat the Eagles next week, I will be playing black and gold to the Super Bowl. And I don't want nobody to tell me I'm overreacting. I don't care. If the Saints go out here and beat the Eagles next week, you're going to hear black and gold to the Super Bowl on this platform. I'm taking out a second mortgage on the house, and I will be in the Superdome in February if the Saints beat the Eagles next week. That's not good financial advice for anybody watching, but I'm going to do it. Shout out to, we got another comment. Boss Man, they better not cheat us in the playoffs. Look, don't even get my blood boiling. It's been a good day today. Automatically, I got flashbacks of Saints versus Rams, the no call, pass interference call. I'm having a good day. You know, we're going to have to cross that bridge when we get there. It might be a riot in New Orleans if those refs cheat us again in the playoffs. It might be a full-out riot. I might be the one out there leading the riot if the referees mess us over again in the playoffs. But I don't think it's going to matter, boss man. I don't think it's going to matter because I'm going to tell you why. I think the Saints are just that good this year. I don't see anybody. I watched a lot of football. I'm watching Kansas City versus the Bengals right now, right in front of me. And I don't see any one of these teams that has had a better display so far than the Saints. I know Kansas City got Patrick Mahomes. I understand it. I know they got Patrick Mahomes. I know what I said last week or the week before last about Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs are probably going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. But I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if the Saints is representing the NFC. Just from what I've seen so far, who in the NFC right now is playing better than the New Orleans Saints? The Saints have combined for close to, I want to say 90 points. Yeah, over 90 points so far this season. I believe 91 points the Saints have scored this year in 2 games. I don't think anybody's had, I don't think anybody in the NFL has went over 40 but the New Orleans Saints. Back-to-back weeks. Defense, maybe, I think the Saints has the best defense in the NFL. I was going to say top 5. Saints have the best defense in the league. Look like they have the best play caller in the league. And let me tell you something, Saints fans. Let me tell you something before we get ahead of ourselves. We're not going to be able to keep Clint Kubiak. If this success continues that Clint Kubiak is having on offense, it's 1 year we got Clint Kubiak. So we better make it happen. The Saints going to have a decision to make. Do you want to keep Dennis Allen at head coach? Or do you want to go with Clint Kubiak, who was a play caller? Now, we just had that conversation earlier with play calling head coaches. Dennis Allen is a damn good defensive play caller, but you got to have offense. I feel like you always can find a guy to coach the defense and be decent. Not a lot of defensive coaches get head coaching jobs that often or will want to leave, you know. Not that it doesn't happen, but offensive play callers are harder to come by than defensive play callers. You know, so the Saints gonna have a decision to make, man, because they looking good, man. Shout out to Boss Man. My Bengals holding Patrick off the board. He can't defeat all of us. You're right. I mean, I'm watching this game right now, and it's been going back and forth between Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes, but neither one of these teams look as good on defense as the Saints or on offense. Just consistently, that play calling with the offense and Clint Kubiak, it reminds me of Sean Payton, but it with a little bit more of a creative spin on it. You know what I'm saying? It looks better than Sean Payton almost. I know that's outrageous to say after 1 week of after 3 weeks, after 2 games. That's outrageous to say after 2 games. I understand that, but it looks good. And I thought it was a fluke. Week 1, I said, well, we'll see what they do against the Cowboys. Then they go right back out here against a top 5 quarterback in the league and Dak Prescott, a top 10 defense, hang up 44 and gives up 9, and the defense gives up 19 points. I mean, right now, I think the Saints the best team in football. I said it on Facebook. I don't think I'm overreacting. If you think I'm overreacting, please leave a comment and we would address it. I will argue with a tree. If a tree would talk back to me, I'll argue with that tree. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments, man. He said, yeah, you can't put that against Sean. Sean who? Somebody Sean Payton? Let me know what you think. Expand a little bit on that thought, boss man. But Saints look good. Saints look good, man. And I gotta ask the other question here. I got another question here that I have to ask. I mean, I've been watching Raheem Shaheed for the last couple of years now. And now I think we have to ask ourselves the elite question when it comes to Raheem Shaheed, because he's that deep threat, man. I seen a graphic that he was second in the NFL over however many seasons. He was behind Tyreek Hill when it comes to explosive plays, which, maybe like, I don't know, maybe 30 yards plus or something like that. He had 8 and Tyreek Hill had 10. And we all know the type of player Tyreek Hill is. So if you're going to put him in the same conversation as a Tyreek Hill, then we got to start floating around this elite word a little bit when we addressing Raheem Shaheed, because he is a matchup problem, man. He kind of remind me of that Devery Henderson that the Saints had back in the day, but even a little more explosive and maybe a little more. Then he also contributes in the return game. So I think Shaheed, man, watch out for Shaheed. He's quietly having a really good season. I got his stats here. Let me find the stats. So Shaheed he got 7 receptions on the season, which is not a lot, but he's a splash play guy. Like he makes the big play. So he got 7 receptions on the season, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he is averaging 24 yards a catch. I don't think I ever seen one this. I don't think I've ever seen a yards per catch so high 24 yards per catch by Raheem Shaheed, man. That's impressive. And 2 touchdowns. And the 2 touchdowns he had this year was 50 plus. I mean, not even close. So Raheem Shaheed, man, you gotta start floating that word out there. You gotta start floating that elite word out there. When you gotta put some respect on this man name, man. Boss man says Shaheed he is made for deep passes, boss man, bro. He is. I mean, he might be one of the best deep threats, maybe the best deep threat outside of Tyreek Hill. It's looking good. It's looking good from Shaheed, and it's also looking good from Kamara. It's Alvin Kamara back. I think this may be the best Alvin Kamara we ever seen. I mean, look, let's check it out so far. Alvin Kamara is on pace to rush for over 1,000 yards. Alvin Kamara doesn't have 1,000-yard rushing season, and that might surprise a lot of Saints fans because we all know the type of player Alvin Kamara is. But Alvin Kamara doesn't have 1,000-yard rushing season since he's been in the NFL, all with the Saints, right? He doesn't have 1,000-yard rushing season, but already he has 35 carries, 198 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground, and then he adds another 7 reception for 87 yards and a touchdown on the ground. I mean, through the air as a receiving touchdowns, right? And I seen in this game, I think Alvin Kamara may have been the MVP of this game because he took that screenplay. I know at least 50 plus. It seemed like 50 plus at least. He had a screenplay. He looked so good on the ground. I mean, it seemed like he was getting like 10 yards a pop. That's what it felt like. It felt like Alvin Kamara is playing on another level this year. And I think it's because I think Clint Kubiak seen that film that Kamara had from the Sean Payton years. And he's implementing a lot of those screens that we hadn't seen in the last 2 years under Carmichael, under offensive coordinator Carmichael. So I think Clint Kubiak has unlocked the potential of Alvin Kamara. It looks good, man. It looks good. 4 touchdowns on the season, 5 including receiving touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns on the season, over 250. What was that? Close to 300 yards. Close to 300 yards, total yards in 2 games this season. I think this is the year for Alvin Kamara. And Marco boss man couldn't believe. He said, "Is you serious on Kamara yards?" Man, I'm dead serious. Kamara has never had 1,000-yard rushing season because of the way the Saints have used Alvin Kamara. You know, he's kind of like a hybrid back where he catches a lot of passes out the backfield. And then he's not a real in between the tackle runner, but what Clint Kubiak has been able to do is kind of get him to the edge. That's his strength. Alvin Kamara is a finesse, more of a finesse back that runs with power at times. You know, he had a touchdown on the goal line that was just classic Alvin Kamara. It's like you think they got him, they ain't got him. He's still up. He's walking. He's running in the touchdown. He's running to the end zone for a touchdown. So shout out to Alvin Kamara. I think he's back. And yes, since he's been with the Saints, since Alvin Kamara has been with the Saints, he has not rushed for 1,000 yards, but he is on pace to rush for 1,000 yards this season. And as long as he stays healthy, I think he would get it. To be honest with you, I think he would get it as long as he stays healthy. The sky's the limit for the Saints. Like I said, Jamal Williams also look good. This is the best I think we've seen Jamal Williams play. So everybody's production and their play has increased with Kubiak as the offensive coordinator. That's why I say, man, I don't think we got Clint Kubiak for long, y'all. This is a Cinderella season. The Saints have to take advantage of this season because we're not going to be able to keep Clint Kubiak. It's going to have some job openings. Carolina might get rid of their coach again this year. I don't think it's going to really help with because I don't think Bryce Young is an NFL quarterback. I'm sorry to say it, but I'm not too big on Bryce Young. So, but we're not gonna be able to keep Kubiak. But so far, he is doing a great job. But excuse me. But one of the biggest takeaways I have from the Saints right now, just how dominant, right? Like just how dominant the Saints look right now. I mean, the Cowboys is a good team. Carolina, not so good, but still an NFL team, still the NFL roster, right? They may not have an NFL level quarterback, but still a good defense. And 2 straight weeks, the Saints have looked outstanding. I mean, like I said, I've been watching NFL football, consistently this year, as I always do, but I've been trying to compare what the Saints is doing to other teams, and like I said, it just looks different. It looks dominant. The defense looked dominant. I mean, the defense is rushing the passer. Demario Davis is still Demario Davis at 35 years old. A good point by Boss Man. Tyrann Mathieu. That old Tyrann Mathieu back tonight. Yeah, Tyrann Mathieu is back. Not that he ever really left, but he's clicking. I mean, they hit on the sideline that jarred the ball loose. I think it might have been 88 for the Cowboys. I always forget his name. CD Lamb. I think that was CD Lamb that he hit on the sideline. It was clutch. I mean, it was a play that we had to have in that situation. And he came and made a nice instinctual play that Tyrann Mathieu always makes. So Tyrann Mathieu, that's a good sign. He had the interception late that really sealed the deal for the Saints. And I think the Saints was able to get points on that drive. And that interception sealed the deal. But I mean, I don't see a weakness on this Saints team. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. I don't see a weakness on this Saints team at all, man. And like I said, if you're just joining me, I almost started playing black and gold to the Super Bowl on my live when I first started out, y'all. Because the only reason why I didn't play it, I think they was going to copyright me for that. But I don't even care. If they go out there and beat the Eagles next week, y'all going to hear black and gold to the Super Bowl. I don't care who don't like it. I don't care who. If they can flag the video, they could do whatever they want to do. I'm playing black and gold to the Super Bowl. Let the Saints mess around and beat the Eagles. Y'all gonna hear black and gold to the Super Bowl. And I might go ahead and get my Super Bowl tickets straight out the gate. Because, I mean, long as we stay healthy, long as Derek Carr can stay healthy, long as Alvin Kamara can stay healthy, long as those receivers can stay healthy, the Saints got a chance this year, y'all. Because all I see is dominance. That's all I see. Boss Man says he had an interception last week, 2 or a forced fumble, one of the 2. Are you talking about Tyrann Mathieu? Yes, Tyrann Mathieu has been playing like the honey badger this season. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu is playing some of the best football of his life. This Saints team, man, I would be lying to you if I told you I thought the Saints was going to do this. I didn't have no expectations. I even said that at best the Saints would be 10-7 this year. I said there's no way we're making the playoffs. I had a lot of, criticism for the Saints coming into this season. I mean, I had a lot of doubt as well, for good reason. We know the Saints. We know our team, right? But it looks good. Credit to Dennis Allen, man. We gotta do some apologizing around here. I'm sorry. We gotta be men about it, man. We gotta apologize to Derek Carr. We gotta apologize to Dennis Allen. Because this is a great Saints team, y'all. I mean, let's not let our pride be too big. We gotta do some apologizing around here in the Bayou, bro. We gotta do some apologizing. Boss Man, we gotta do some apologizing, man. We gotta do some apologizing, but we gotta talk about this matchup next week. Let's talk about this matchup next week. The Eagles, from what I've seen with the Eagles are pretty good. Always a good football team when it comes to the Eagles, man. They play a little later tonight. They got that primetime game at 7:15. So I'm gonna watch that game. They got the Falcons. So they playing the Falcons. So this is gonna be a good game for Who Dat Nation to watch. The Eagles are playing the Falcons at 7:15 on ESPN. So this is gonna be a good game for us Saints fans to watch because they're taking a division rival. The Eagles barely beat the Packers in week 1 on that Thursday night football game. And I saw a lot of inconsistencies in Jalen Hurts. It's kind of been the story of his career. He had that one good season when he got the Eagles to the Super Bowl. But outside of that, Jalen Hurts has been very average. At least in that first game, he definitely struggled. But nonetheless, he was able to get the win. In that first game, he was 20 or 34. Completed 58% of his passes, which is low for an NFL quarterback. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 sacks. He had a fumble that was recovered. A strip sack on Jalen Hurts. So this is going to be an interesting game for the Saints, and this is going to let us know exactly where the Saints are. This game here, because the Eagles been there before. Saints been there before, but most of the people watching, especially a lot of the high school guys that watch my platform, They don't even remember the Saints winning the Super Bowl. It's been that long. You know what I'm saying? They was like maybe 4 or 5 years old when the Saints won the Super Bowl. A lot of the kids today have no recollection of the Saints winning the Super Bowl. So the Eagles have been here in recent memory. They have a good coach in Sirianni, a good quarterback, running game. You know, they have Saquon Barkley now. So it's going to be interesting. But the Saints do have one of the better run defenses in the league. So we're going to see. That's going to be the game of the week. With the Eagles, I don't know if we are going over 40. I'm not sure if it's going to be 40 either, boss man, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I thought it wouldn't be 40 against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys probably has a better defense than the Eagles. When you talk about personnel, I mean, they may have not played up to the standard, but as far as personnel, I think I don't know. I think the Saints are this is going to be a good matchup because both teams have some of the same characteristics, good play calling. The difference in the game is going to be Jalen Hurts being able to extend the play. We all know what Jalen Hurts can do on the ground, but, you know, it's going to be an interesting game, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see what the Eagles do against the Falcons tonight. That's going to be at 7:15. It's going to be interesting to see, man. It's going to be really interesting to see. And he also said Eagles got the third best offense to me if they can get the play calling right. Yeah, I mean, we all know what the Eagles can do. We've seen what they have done in the last couple of years. Sometimes not always great. Jalen Hurts is kind of inconsistent. That's what I'm betting on in this game. I think the Saints will win this game because of the inconsistent play of Jalen Hurts. Going back to that game against Green Bay on that Thursday night, I mean, it was like one of those games where kind of like what LSU did against South Carolina this week. It was a game like, how did they win this game? How did LSU win this game? That was kind of the same feel that I had for the Eagles because the Eagles made a lot of mistakes in that week one game against Green Bay. I mean, you know, it's like I said, Hurts turned the ball over 3 times. You know, it was set up for them to lose that game. And if the Eagles do that, have that type of game against the Saints, it's not going to look good for the Philadelphia Eagles if they turn the ball over at the same clip they did against Green Bay. It's not going to be good for the Eagles. So I do look for the Saints to win this game. I'm going to throw a score out there. I'm going to say the Saints win 38-27 against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's my prediction. I think the Saints are just as good. And then, like I said, if the Saints start off 3-0, y'all, I'm going to start playing black and gold to the Super Bowl right here on North of the Lake Sports Talk Live, man. I'm trying not to get carried away. Man. Let me know what y'all think in the chat. Shout out to Boss Man. Oh, he been rocking with us since we started this platform. So y'all shout out to Boss Man. Y'all go follow him on Facebook and check out some of the things he got to say. He been rocking with us since day one. So shout out to my boy, man. But Saints versus Eagles, it's gonna come down to who executes, it's really gonna be this simple, y'all. Whoever doesn't make the big mistake, whoever controls the game better is going to win this game. And I like the Saints' chances. I mean, I would be lying to you if I said I came into this season and I looked at this schedule. I looked at the Saints' schedule this year, and I was like, you know, if y'all watched the platform, y'all knew I was kind of worried about this schedule. I'm trying to get it pulled up here, the Saints' schedule. I saw the Panthers week 1. I was like, okay, we're going to beat the Panthers, which we did. Saints against Cowboys. I said, okay, it's going to be a tough game. Saints, I don't know about this one. 44-19. Saints beat the Cowboys. Eagles next week. And then we had the Falcons, then followed by the Chiefs. And if y'all watch my platform, y'all know I said, if we can't at least beat 2 out of 3 of the teams, and I'm talking about 2 out of 4. I was talking about the Cowboys, Eagles, Falcons, and Chiefs. The season is over, but the Saints are sitting at 2-0 on the season. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward. It's going to be really interesting to see going forward, man. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, share this live. If you are watching this live, please do me a favor. Share the live, whether you on Instagram, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook. The scores are at the bottom from this week's football, from North Shore football here in Louisiana to local college football from LSU to Southeastern to those Southern Jaguars. Y'all see me repping. Line up, baby. I am a former Southeastern Lion. So, shout out to Southeastern. They got the win this week. Southern did lose to Jackson State, but shout out to our HBCUs. Shout out to Grambling. Shout out to all the high school guys. We got some more comments. We're gonna read your comments before we get out of here. I got 31-28 somewhere between there. I think it's gonna be a field goal win. I mean that's not far fetched at all. I just think the Saints got too much. I mean that's a good score to place a wager on. You know what I'm saying? To get your little fan dude parlay going on, boss man. But I think it's gonna be a little more cushion for the Saints, especially if Jalen Hurts go out there and start turning the ball over. You cannot, I'm gonna tell you right now, you cannot turn the ball over against this Saints team. The defense is too good. They got too many deep threats. They got Olave, they got Shaheed. Anytime they can bust it wide open, bro. So if Jalen Hurts and the Eagles turn the ball over, it's not going to be a good sight. And it's going to come down to them really running the ball well. The Eagles have to run the ball well with Saquon, and they did that in week 1. He looked very good. Him and Alvin Kamara look like they're having the best 2 seasons right now from the running back position. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, that's a good score, though. I always go with that score if I'm if I'm placing a bet, right? If I'm placing a bet, I typically probably would go with a 31-28 type of situation. But I think it's a little more cushion than that, boss man. We have a cold schedule. Yeah, but we already 2 games in, and it's not looking as bad. When you was going off the perspective of what you thought the Saints could be in the offseason, based off what you seen last season, it looked terrible. It's like a horrible schedule, but it's looking better and better now that I see him look at it. All we got left, only real threats that the Saints, just going off based off what I've seen this year, the only real threats I say is the Chiefs on our schedule. The Packers obviously scares me a little bit. We got our division games. That can go either way, but I like the Saints. I think the Buccaneers are going to be the biggest threat in the NFC South to the Saints. They are 2-0. They played very well today as well. But I mean, I'm liking it. Going forward, I like our chances. I like the Saints. The way the Saints are playing right now, Saints can go at least 12-5. I think easily. I mean, I think the Saints can be a 12-5 team, win a division, have a first round bye. And if the Saints can get in the playoffs with home field advantage in the Superdome, watch out. Watch out. As long as the Saints stay healthy, if they can get a home playoff game in the Superdome, home field advantage, watch out. That's all I'm saying. Watch out. We do have a cold schedule, but we already 2 games in. We 2-0. Saints beat the Cowboys today. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Please repost this live. If you would like to support the platform, the Cash App is at the bottom. Louisiana High School football scores are at the bottom. Game of the week was Hammond High versus Amite, 33-16. Shout out to the Hammond High Tornadoes. LaRonja also looking pretty good in Tangipahoa Parish, 56-7 over St. Thomas Aquinas. Like I said, all the scores are at the bottom. I'm getting ready to sign out. So if y'all have any more comments, please let me know right now. Please let me know right now. So we gave some love to a couple guys in Tangipahoa Parish. Zaylin Bennett from Hammond High School. I guess we just give him some more love. We got Zaylin Bennett here from Hammond High School. He is our player, one of our players of the week from Hammond High School. Player of the week, right? You see him. I believe he had 150 yards on the ground. This is Zaylin Bennett. Let's give him some more love before we get out of here. We also got Darius Cervic as our other player of the week. We're going to get ready to show him. And also, shout out to Ardell Garner, man. Shout out to him as well for sending his highlights. He's doing really well as well. We're going to show him before we get out of here, too. But this is Zaylin Bennett, Hammond High School, number 2. I believe he is a junior this year. He had a very, very good game. He is our player of the week and Tangi football player of the week. You can see right there, he is handling business. Very nice runs, very good vision. I think this is the home run hitter right here. We're getting ready to see right here on the screen. Got a little outside zone, and he cuts it up, and he is out of here. Nobody can get him from Amite. He is our player of the week. Also, we got Arnell Garner. Shout out to Arnell Garner for sending us his film right here. This is a nice interception against Denham Springs. Shout out to him, man. Nice play. And the big boy. Let's give the big boys up front some love. You see 99 right here with the pursuit. I mean, he just be all in the backfield, just wreaking havoc, man. I gotta start this from the beginning. Just wreaking havoc, you know. Just wreaking havoc. Not too many people. I have not seen too many people block him this year or last year or his time at Hammer High. Period. You can see him here taking care of business. Hammer High did beat Amy 33-16. That is our game of the week. Darius Cervic is our player of the week. I want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. This is episode 3 of season 2, man. I appreciate all the continued support. We got one more comment before we get out of here. He said, hold on, where are our kids going? Hammond or two? Well, this ain't even a question for me, boss man. My son going to Hammer High. His mama went to Ponchatoula, but she already know what this about what's going to happen here with my son. My son will be a Hammer High tornado. Ain't no way around it. I don't care if I got to move. If I got to go move and get me an apartment in Hammond, I will go do it. My son will be a Hammer High tornado. I don't know about you, man, but you a Hammer High tornado too. You are an alumni. You know what we got to start doing? We got to start holding people accountable. If your kid, if you played at Hammond High School and your kid is playing for Ponchatoula, we need you to come to the front of the congregation. We got to start holding people accountable. We got to start holding these athletes accountable who leave the state of Louisiana and go play for Bama and stuff like that. We got to start holding these kids accountable. We got to start holding these kids accountable, man. We got to start messing these kids up. If you leave the state of Louisiana, if you leave your city and go play for another city, we're going to rough you up when we see you. But it's all love. We just playing. And yeah, our son is going to Hammer High. So go Tornadoes. And that's going to be it for us this week, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in for North of the Lake Weekly Sports Talk Live, man. I'm your boy, Marvin Rashawn. This is NOTL Podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Instagram, YouTube. Also on Facebook, that's NOTL Podcast. You should be able to find us on all social media by NOTL Podcast. I'm signing out. I'm your boy, Marvin Rashawn. I appreciate y'all support, man. Please tune in next week as we got more topics. Thank y'all.